let's go. So, Larry, Ukraine. Russia just bombed the hell out of Ukraine. What's going on there?
Yeah. So there's some speculating that this was a retaliation for the Kursk invasion. I don't think it is. But Russia struck. They made a point of hitting in the daylight. So they were hitting Monday morning, Ukraine time. Starting around 5 a.m., 6 a.m., which means I was seeing reports of it at 10, 11 o'clock at night, Sunday night. And they hit, it looks like it was primarily targeted at electrical substations, power plants. Russia is just further degrading the ability of Ukraine to power itself. And it's actually going to sort of create an odd situation going forward, that as when winter comes on, there will only be a few places where there will be electricity running and heat being generated, and those will be normally associated with defense plants or locations engaged with military activity, which will make it easier for the Russians to target them. They won't be able to mask themselves. It looks like the Russians also hit the Aurora Hotel in I forget which city, but it was a place where troops were being birthed. So you had the Ukrainian forces, or I guess foreign mercenaries, were staying at that hotel. So clearly a bunch of them were killed. We don't know what nationality. So Russia is continuing the offensive there, and on top of that, it is moving forward rapidly in the Donbass. The Ukrainians are evacuating major portions of the Donbass. They're telling their civilians to flee, run away.
Yeah, exactly. When I start seeing the reports from the bombing, well, obviously it was the electric network. Also, it hit. It didn't hit, but it affected also Moldavia, with lack of energy that used to come from Ukraine. And one thing that called my attention was some reports of some assistant journalists getting killed. Assistant journalists. I don't even know what that means. Is there? You used to work for for journalism, for mainstream journalism. Is there this profession, assistant journalist?
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is. That's an odd title. Exactly. Very strange.
Yeah. It's so it seems strange to me that it looks just like a continuation, as you mentioned, the nothing exactly related to Kursk. At the same time, it sends a very, very interesting message. Just today I was on the shopping center here, and on TV, the Italian TV was showing like, Kiev is holding 1,200 square kilometers of Kursk, and I was like, Russia just bombed the entire Ukraine. So Russia owns the entire Ukraine, and they have like 1,000 kilometers. That's not even fair.
No, well, they don't control that territory. I mean, that definition of control from a military standpoint means that no Russian troop could move along the roadside without getting blown up. But the fact of the matter is the Russians control the roads. It's the Ukrainians who are basically trapped in a variety of small villages, little communities. They're not even holding anything substantial. So, and they're being killed and captured, or wounded. So their casualties are mounting steadily each day.
Yeah. Well, just to finish this, one thing that puzzled me was the bridges that Ukraine bombed. The thing that I thought, because it looks like they bombed the bridges behind the lines, the line of contact. I mean, So they are basically isolating whatever is inside of that region to not flee, or am I wrong on thinking that?
Well, I thought the same thing when I saw that, and I'm not sure I've got a good enough grasp of the geography there.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, whether they blew up bridges that are basically cutting them off from going back into Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
which seems pretty silly because those units aren't going to survive without resupply. The only way you get resupplied is either some trucks drive up and drop off ammunition and food and water, or a train does the same. But either trucks or trains are going to have to cross a river on a bridge. So if the bridges are down, they don't get that. The other alternative is you've got to use airdrop, but that means fixed wing aircraft come in and drop supplies. That type of aircraft is so vulnerable to attack by the Russians that they're not going to do that either. So yeah, it's very curious. And then on top of it, as soon as they blow up the bridges, the Russians have established pontoon units. They're able to build an immediate bridge across the river, and keep it open for the movement of Russian troops. So it's not clear what the specific objective was by the Ukrainians with that activity.
Yeah, that puzzles me, and I think again, as you say, as you usually say, if you try to think rational, never gonna get the answer for those things.
Yeah. No, exactly right.
In relation of Ukraine, I just see the bump of Kiev asking for more money and more things, and something that flew around was he has a plan to win the war that he's going to bring Washington. Is there anything that they could do anything?
Okay, I'm not sure. I got confused there. Who are we talking about?
Oh, the bump of Kiev. Sorry, is the Zelensky guy.
Zelensky. Okay, so Zelensky is he's in a very difficult position right now, and he's delusional. So it is you're puzzled looking at this activity in Kursk, because it was so, it's not just reckless, it's really a futile effort, because let's say that they, it's not clear what the objective was. We've heard conflicting or multiple objectives, that they wanted to capture the nuclear plant at Kurchatov. They wanted to divert Russian soldiers from Donbass and force them to go to Kursk, so that it would take the heat off of the Ukrainians defending against them. Mm-hmm. And that last one seems to be really what was afoot. And then I think Zelensky's goal is to hope to take action against the Russians that will lead the Russians to retaliate against NATO in order to bring NATO into the fight. I think he sees the only way he's going to survive is if the United States, Britain, Germany go to war with Russia, which is, it's insane. Because if it gets to that stage, then the nuclear weapons are going to be used, and the United States and Europe will be devastated. Literally destroyed. Mm-hmm. Not just, emotionally upset. It's clear, though, from listening to General Sirski today, or the quote, that he's out of touch with reality. So on the one hand, he's saying, oh boy, we got a really tough time around Pokrovsk because, the Russians are advancing. But our invasion into Russia up in Kursk that forced the Russians to divert 30,000 troops from the Donbass. And it's like, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. The Russians had troops already up there in that area. They've got plenty of fresh reserves. It didn't slow the Russians down at all. What it did was weaken Ukrainian defenses in the Donbass, making it easier for Russians to move forward. So, completely out of touch with reality. And they're still sort of, I think, not going full throttle on explaining the role of NATO, and particularly U.S. military planners, British military planners, and helping concoct this harebrained scheme. But, that's what they've got. They have a disaster on their hands unfolding in Kursk. I think, it's estimated that the initial force that went in was around 12 to 14,000 Ukrainians. Mm-hmm. And it looks like well over 50% of them are now casualties. When you got a 50% casualty rate, you're not doing well.
Well, according to the MOD, to the Russian MOD, at least almost 6,000 have already perished. So, if they are talking
that
about
was 2 days. That was 2 days ago.
That was 2 days.
So it's numbers up over 7,000 now.
Yeah, not doing well. And I saw the reports were about from 10 to 30,000 troops from Ukraine. I don't know how much actually they went there, but for sure more than 10,000. Since they don't have a way to go back to finish this, I would like to understand two things in the not front line that are happening in the back, which is the Ukrainian complaining about the buildup in Belarus and the buildup that has been noticed in Finland, close to Russian border. Do you think this is about to escalate?
Well, the buildup in Finland, I wouldn't be that concerned about. Mm-hmm. But it looks like while the rhetoric, what is being said by politicians and some pundits and some government officials, that they're being belligerent and talking about escalating things with Russia. On the other hand, I think the one to watch out for is Zelensky's been pressing for long, middle range missiles to strike deeper into Russia. And up to this point, the U.S. and all of NATO have basically said no, because they recognize if they do that, it will escalate. Well, now this week it comes out news that, quote, Ukraine has developed a new missile, a new drone, but it's basically a cruise missile that actually could strike upwards of 700 to 800 kilometers inside Russia. So that would be the kind of thing you'd expect from the West. In looking at that, my guess is Ukraine did not develop this. This was developed in conjunction with the CIA or the British or a combination of the two. It's a Western developed technology, but it's being dressed up as if it's Ukrainian. Let's call it a transgender cruise missile. The Ukrainians, it's self-identifying as Ukrainian, but in fact, it's probably of Western orientation. It comes out of the West.
But so, perhaps it's not even developed. It's just a cruise missile that someone painted over or something like that. They put some stamps.
Well, the point is when they use it, this is going to elicit a reaction from Russia that they're hoping that it will be confined to Ukraine, that it won't spread beyond that. It won't go into Poland, won't go into Romania. The other thing I forgot to mention with respect to the missile strikes is the reports indicated they hit a hangar and took out at least 2 of the F-16s that have been provided to Ukraine, which really haven't made any kind of appearance over the battlefield up to this point.
Yeah, there was even a video, right, where you could see the location of the F-16s.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that video, but the Russians clearly are tracking it, and so in tracking it, they apparently destroyed at least 2.
From not so many. Okay, I want to pivot out of Ukraine now to Middle East. It looks like this the last night there was some arrivals from Hezbollah on Israel. One thing that I got puzzled was that the news the news actually say that there is no confirmation of success from Hezbollah or if the missiles were shot down. That kind of immediately tells me, okay, there was some success there and the missiles were not shot down. Otherwise, there would be everywhere saying, yeah, they shot like 100 missiles and we shot down 250. What do you know about that? And what do you think about this situation there?
Well, I think, let's be clear. So first, the first strike by the Israeli Air Force was on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then the Hezbollah response was on Sunday, going into Monday morning. And what happened is Israel then imposed a news blackout. So they specifically ordered their media not to report on what had happened. So that tells you there was damage. Because if there wasn't damage, they'd take you to all the bases and they'd say, hey, these Hezbollah is saying that they hit Galat, this base outside of Tel Aviv. And, here, take a look for yourself. Didn't touch it. They don't show that video. That tells you that Hezbollah did, in fact, hit the sites, that the Iron Dome was not 100% effective by any stretch. Similarly, Israel claims that it scored a massive blow on Hezbollah. Israel's lying, because if they had scored that massive blow, then within the next 24 hours, Hezbollah wouldn't have been able to do what Hezbollah did, which was launch, a massive combination of drones and rockets. And Nasrallah, Hassan Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, said, hey, we didn't even use our strategic and precision missiles. We held back. So they were retaliating, but doing it in a limited fashion. I think, Hezbollah still is trying to keep from escalating this to a full-blown war. Israel, the people that don't wear a uniform and that don't really have any kind of military experience are really agitating to go to war to invade Lebanon, whereas the ones that have military experience and some remaining brain matter between their ears recognize that it's a terrible idea, dangerous idea.
So Israel is trying suicide by Hezbollah.
There are some, but it's not just suicide by Hezbollah. They also want to attack Iran.
Oh yeah.
And they want to do all this at the same time that they've been unable to defeat Hamas. It's just that's an objective fact. A lot of ardent Zionists don't like to admit that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and Iran so far has not done anything, and things are. One question: I saw some video that plunged the internet the other day, 2-3 days ago, about people running away from Israel on the airport.
Yeah.
Do you see? Yeah. Is that real? Because I received like 5 or 6 people say, "Oh, this is fake news. This is fake news," and I kind of had a hard time to confirm or anything. So are those videos?
People are not flocking to Israel. They're leaving Israel. The ones who are leaving ironically, are the ones who would be considered most opposed to the Zionist policies of the Netanyahu government. And so what this means is, as you know, let's say that Donald Trump is elected, and then all the Democrats that said they're going to leave the country. And so as they leave the country, that means there are fewer Democrats, and Republicans, with not necessarily increasing in size, end up being more of a majority. That's exactly what's happening in Israel. Those who are opposed to Bibi Netanyahu are leaving the country. And then to add to that, you've got tourism's dead, significantly diminished. So Israel's suffering economically big time. That's sort of what's hidden. That's the other part of this war that's not really getting focused on. That's where a lot of damage is being done. Israel and Ukraine, there's a little bit similar. In Ukraine, it's even more extreme. They're able to track how many SIM cards are in cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
The number, I think the last number they came up with within the last week or so, 18 million. Okay.
Inside only. Well, the remaining.
So what it means is, it looks like Ukraine, half of its population has left Ukraine.
Yep.
They used to be up around 38, 40 million. Now they're down around 19 million. And so you got the same thing
that the Ukrainians are telling.
Sort of the same phenomenon in Israel as well.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, let's go quickly for the last bombshell, the big arrival, the freedom of speech in the United States. We had a lot of activities recently. Well, the Telegram owner being arrested in France, and now we had this report from Zuckbot and the Meta guys talking about the Kuf period and the Russiagate and the laptop from hell. All those things were ordered by the Biden administration to be taken down. And we had Scott. So how bad is the situation?
Well, it's not. We haven't entered the full-blown Soviet Union gulag period yet, but we're certainly headed in that direction. And what I mean by that is when all speech is suppressed, and anybody who dares speak out is arrested and carted off. I still have been able to speak my mind and post what I believe is going on. I have not been attacked yet. I emphasize yet. There's always that possibility. But, I was sort of amused by it's getting reported in the news that, oh my God, Zuckerberg admitted this. And it's like, we knew it was going on. I mean, we knew. I put this in the category. It's like a newspaper comes out with a headline tomorrow. Oh my God, the sun rose in the east. Yeah. Does that every day. The government was interfering with the election. The government was working to lie to people about COVID. We knew it at the time that they were doing it, and went out of their way. And most of the media willingly cooperated with the effort. That's the real story here. The media was enabling the government in its lies.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed when I moved from Brazil to Europe was that we were more or less in the middle of the Syrian situation. And when I was in Brazil, so Russia was holding ISIS out. When I got to Europe, Russia was bombing Syria. You understand the difference of things. But this time, when things happened, it was absolutely unisonos. Everybody was saying exactly the same thing about Russia, for example.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the reason they're going after Pavel Durov, the head of Telegram, is because they need to shut down his platform because it is not under the propaganda control of the intelligence agencies. So when you've got places like Facebook and Instagram, anything controlled by Google and by Zuckerberg, you can control the information that gets out to people. Whereas sites like TikTok and Telegram, and to a lesser extent WhatsApp, though WhatsApp is more of just sort of individual personal communication. It's not so much an open media platform. It does allow information that directly contradicts what the intelligence community, the policy community wants out there from the West. So that's what's going on. They're trying to shut down Telegram because it is a threat in that regard. It is reported information that the other channels would not report if they had complete control.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, I actually know why Twitter has not yet been shut down, but let's just pretend for now that we have some freedom on Twitter.
Well, yeah. Well, remember, I call it shitter because, well, no, I mean, X. How do you pronounce XI? Like Xi Jinping, XI Jinping, Xi, right? It's pronounced Xi. So take Xi and Twitter, shitter. Schwitter. Yeah, Schwitter. That's
perfect.
Yeah.
I just cut that out. This is going to be fantastic. This is going to be a Superman shitter.
Yeah. It should be Schwitter. I think that's right. So.
Yeah, Larry, tell me.
No, I'm sorry that we encountered the technical lesson learned. We were being held hostage by Google.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the other day, the Judge Napolitano channel was kind of attacked by the Google rules, no?
Oh yeah, no, they went after him because of one comment by Pepe Escobar in one of the interviews.
All right.
And the comment was not. It was they accused Pepe of hate speech. It's like Pepe Escobar of hate speech. I don't know a more gentle, non-condemnatory person than Pepe. Pepe is he's always a gentleman. He's always courteous. He may speak directly to you, but he will do so in a polite way. This was just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pepe, around we even say that Pepe is almost like a hippie, that he goes live in some Asian countries, have some peace and stuff like that. And all right, dude, come on, Pepe hates speech.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. Larry, I think our time today is up. I will apologize.
I've got to.
Yeah, I have to apologize again for my technical stupidity. I have to provide a decent platform for the guests from now on. I'll have to pay for that. So everybody, remember to contribute to the channel, send super chats and stuff like that, so I can pay for StreamYard. And so everybody, all the links are in the description, and from now on I'm also putting the links for Larry where he appears, like Nima, Dialogue Works, Deep Dive with Daniel Davis, and the Judge Napolitano, where he has weekly shows also there. So all the links on the description. Larry, thank you very much, my friend.
Okay, Marcelo, always a pleasure, man. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Okay.